Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again doing an anime movie review, which has actually been quite a while since I have covered an anime movie review for the channel. And for this particular anime movie review, I am covering Makoto Shinkai's Suzume. And one nice thing about this is that I actually got to watch it on Crunchyroll. And yes, I did get to watch it in subs, not dubs. So I'll give you a quick synopsis of what this journey entails. So on the other side of a door was time in its entirety. Suzume is a coming-of-age story for the 17-year-old protagonist. Suzume, set in a various disaster-stricken locations across Japan, where she must close the doors, causing the devastation. Suzume's journey begins in a quiet town in Kyushu, located in southwestern Japan, where she encounters a young man who tells her that he's looking for a door. We learned that this young man's name is called Sota, so what Sumi finds is a signal-weathered door standing upright in the midst of the ruins, as though it was shielded from whatever catastrophe struck. Seemingly drawn by its power, Suzume reaches for the knob. The door begins to open one after another all across Japan, unleashing destruction upon all who are near them, and Suzume must close the portals to prevent the disaster. So, moving directly into the movie, yes, we do meet the character of Suzume, but we also get a bit of a flashback with the character too, to which we do see a catastrophic event, but in this case, this is more like a natural disaster type event. And natural disasters are used quite a bit in this film. Not so much like, for example, nuclear disasters. No. This one sort of centers more on natural disasters. And when we visit some of the ruins within this story, a lot of these places to which some of these natural disasters happen, we of course have like flooding, whatever else, to even earthquakes. In fact, earthquakes is sort of like one of the first ones that we get a bit of a glimpse of, and the characters within the story do get a warning of. So it's really nice seeing Makoto Shinkai actually delve into something a little bit different than what he's normally done, as I feel it really sort of like stretches or helps him stretch his creativity into something new. So within this particular journey, she ends up going to a particular door, to which she ends up removing a bit of a keystone. This keystone turns Sota, actually transforms Sota to be in a bit of a chair that she carries. And it's only got 3 legs, and we do get to see that particular chair have a form of sentience because Sota has now been turned into it. In the process of the story, we do learn of someone that is meant to be basically her adoptive mother, but in a way more so her aunt, who has basically taken up the role of adoptive mother over her. We get to see some things happening in regards to her a little bit later on in the story. But as the journey continues, we learn that upon the opening of these doors, or these doors starting to appear, there's like supernatural things that can only be seen by those who have a connection to these doors. So we learned that Sota is actually called a closer, and he has a certain key to help close these doors. And due to being able to sort of like finish off closing off the first door with Suzume, he now requires her help to close further doors. And we get to go to different locations as mentioned in the synopsis throughout Japan, and we get to see and also see spoken about a certain worm of sorts that plays a part in these disasters. Now, with the character of Daijin is a keystone, but once this keystone is released, they sort of look like a cat. We do learn that there is another keystone, sort of like the big main keystone, or the second keystone, which is a bigger cat, and that is called Sadaijin within the story. So, whilst things are occurring within the story, we have Suzume going from location to location. One location leads her to teaming up with a woman who we learn has some kids, and she also works at a karaoke club. And I really like how that was actually integrated into the story. And while she's looking for Daijin, the keystone cat, it's the only other way to put it, with Sota, she has to devise a way to sort of like distract some of the other people around her to complete this mission that she has. As the story advances further, we then sort of like move to the next location, and the door she has to close there, to which I think the next one after that one is actually a school to which she has to close the door of, with the help of Sota, who has been turned into the chair, of course. And upon that being done, they do have a bit of a like rest time, because you do see it does wear out the character a bit, but upon like the character getting rest and sort of like continuing the next day, and also paying attention as to where Daijin has gone to. So Daijin is sort of like making his way to the second keystone to release that keystone. And that eventually, when they do get as far as where the second keystone is, I think if I remember in the story, it's actually in Tokyo. And it's like in one of the places to which where one of the trains come out, and they sort of like find a bit of a hidden spot there. Once they find it, they try to close the door off there, but there's no sign of the keystone. So upon that, we have the character of Sota, who basically sacrifices his life to become a keystone to prevent some of the atrocities from happening on Japan in the story. And it's not long after that she ends up going to Sota's grandpa to learn a little bit more. Basically, what he learned, he also learned from what Sota learned, he learned from his grandfather. She goes to his grandfather, and he helps her sort of like reestablish and connect to when she first went through her door when she was younger. And through there, it's now a bit of a journey to get to that place and get to that location and to work on freeing Sota. To which I must guess the character must be around probably 21 years old, and she's 17, so there's a little bit of a difference in age, but not too much a difference in age. So, finally being caught up once again with her aunt, who plays her adoptive mother, we do learn that this aunt has also been possessed by Sadaijin, and with Daijin being with Suzume at the time, they were able to sort of like get the cats together and finally begin to make their way to sort of like the old ruins of their old house within the story. Through that, she must wait until a certain time until she's able to enter the particular door at the location. And upon entering the door, we get to see these big worms that play a part in regards supernaturally affecting physically some of the catastrophes that have happened upon Japan. And of course, we see both the Keystones go out of their way to help Suzume into getting Sota back. And upon getting Sota back, there's a bit of a time element that plays a part in the story. And she ends up meeting her younger self. And that, I must admit, did catch me by surprise, but it also makes a little bit of sense in regards to some of the events that happen in the beginning of the story. So we have sort of like a tie-up, something that happened at the beginning gets tied up at the end. Really well done. And eventually, after freeing and also putting the Keystones back in place, so they're back in this sort of like supernatural world. So we had Sadaijin help out and Daijin help out to stop these supernatural worms from causing disaster in Japan. They end up leaving the door in time to move into sort of like the end of the story. I'll leave the rest there so you can check out the rest for yourself. I've probably given way too much away, but I must admit I have quite liked this story. There's no way that this character is in any way a Mary Sue, because you do see the character struggle throughout the story. So moving into the afterthoughts, if it's one thing I like about Makoto Shinkai, it's how he connects a lot of things with the supernatural, especially with, say, Japanese mythology and history. But not only that, but also connects it with people and characters to even stories that might take place. There's even one time to which you see Suzume even go out of her way to help look after one person's children. And in the process, you also see Sota play a part in sort of like pretending to be an artificial intelligence because of what Daijin did to him early in the story. And that was really clever. I really liked that. So jumping right into the next thing, and that is the rating of the characters. So for the main characters, I give an 8 out of 10. For the supporting characters, an 8 out of 10. Another thing I must credit Makoto Shinkai is that he always chooses amazing people to work on his soundtracks. So for that, it's a straight 8.5 from me. Next is the animations, which I give an 8 out of 10. Last but not least is the story, to which I give an 8.5 out of 10. If you happen to have seen this movie, what was one of your favorite scenes? Until then, let's keep it colorful and have yourself an awesome day.